This is not productivity. This is emotional numbing. We all have our vices: food, relationships, TV, social media. You and I, we're human. We like to escape our feelings from time to time and have a distraction from all the things on our minds. But for some of us, our addictions have visible results but invisible consequences. We escape at our desks or on the track, in the gym, in the library, going above and beyond. This is our escape. You're probably the sort of person that says, I like being busy. I enjoy being productive. I like having things to do, but this isn't about work.
The reason that I can't stop is I use work as a get out of plans free card. I have been using working constantly as a maladaptive self-protective coping mechanism, because if the answer when somebody asks me to go do something is, I'm sorry I have to work, they're not gonna argue with me.
Deep down, there's feelings that you're avoiding. And I know because I've been there. The feeling of being left out, the feeling of not being good enough compared to other women, not being good enough compared to other men, not feeling like you'll be truly accepted now. So you have to work to be accepted. If only you look perfect, sound perfect, do everything perfect, then you'll be ready. I only realized after achieving some of my biggest goals and accomplishments, like getting into medical school, becoming a low-key influencer, getting my dream job at a startup. For me, it took me achieving all of these things to realize this isn't about productivity. This is about you and your way of emotional numbing. Hey, if you're new, I'm Christina and I make videos for people who are feeling lonely. If you're a people pleaser, overachiever, over anything, you're in the right place. This video is for you if you're the sort of person that constantly has work on your mind. You can't go out, relax, see friends, do something fun without worrying at the back of your mind how much work you could be doing. You get annoyed and stressed if your phone maybe like dies on you. It's on 1%, then it cuts off. Because now you're like, oh, I could be doing emails, I could be studying, I could be doing flashcards, but now I can't. You're the sort of person who literally works non-stop round the clock, but you still feel like it's not enough. You could be doing more. You feel lazy even. Like this is just like the minimum. I hope this video finds the right people, because honestly, I say this to some of my friends sometimes and I get blank stares. Like some of my friends don't understand this. But anyway, getting on to my first point, work for you is not only a distraction, but also an addiction. I'm not talking about work as in like regular jobs or regular classes, going to high school, going to college. This is about doing extra homework. You've got a job and you've got a side hustle. You go to college and you're also tutoring people on the side. You're studying in high school, but you're planning on starting a small business. Like this is the people that go above and beyond. Like they'll come back from work and do more work. You'll come back from school and do more school. For the longest time, I was convinced like this is a good thing. This is good. Like, what do you mean? Like, if I could be addicted to anything, why shouldn't it be studying?
Or like, why do you work so much? Like, okay, yeah, that's my vice, but what else do you want me to be doing? If I'm addicted to working and being busy, I don't think that's the worst thing.
I have just finished med school. I've not graduated yet. Graduation is in like 2 weeks. Throughout school, I knew I wanted to be a doctor from like around 15, 16 years old. So I was super determined from the get-go in high school that I like need to get good grades. I need to do the absolute most when it comes to extracurriculars, like all the sports, all the activities, the school council, the everything, whatever it is, I need to do it. And I just thought of it as like, oh, I'm a hard worker. I like being the best. I like doing good work. Like if I do something, I want to do it well. That's what I thought. It's only now as time has gone on, I've reflected and I've thought, I think that might have been like a trauma response, or I don't know, like a way of coping with some negative emotions I was going through at the time. I went to high school in an area that was like very, very predominantly white. Like I was the only black person in my high school, let alone like in my year group, black girl, like no, like just black person, period. But because I felt alone, to say the least, I think my way of coping with that like negative experience of feeling lonely was like, oh, okay, if no one likes me, at least I'm gonna be the smartest person. If no one likes me, at least I'm gonna be a doctor though. I'm gonna go into med school. I'm gonna go into like one of the best universities in the UK, and I'm gonna achieve this big, huge dream. And then slowly, okay, yeah, the negative feelings of school, they were tough and that was awful. But like, oh my God, the promise of like, I could become this person, I could become a doctor and I could go to one of the best universities. Like that was such a big enough dream that it actually pulled me away from the negative emotions and became my distraction. Maybe for you it's different though. Maybe it was like, okay, your parents dismissed you, never really gave you the love and attention that you needed. And so at home, things were so negative and so hostile that like you turned to work or you turned to studying. Maybe it was like, okay, there was always conflict at home, always arguments, things were always so loud and so destructive. So like, okay, you would stay longer in school. I feel like anyone that has a huge obsession with work, like addicted to an extreme level, then something's up. Like, so something has happened when you were younger that's kind of like pushed you in that direction. It was therapeutic to know that like I was getting better and I was getting smarter and the grades were going up and I could like see progress in one area. Like in one area of my life when I was the only black girl, I felt like people would like make fun of me, make weird comments, and I was super shy, like painfully awkward in social situations. There was no progress there. Nothing was getting better, but like with grades and with studying, with exams, I was getting better. I was doing amazing. Like that. It was therapeutic in a way to know that that could be my outlet, which leads me on to my next point. Work is your emotional outlet of choice. Things started off for me as like work being like my distraction, my outlet, my way of seeing progress and way of getting better in an area where my life wasn't so great. But later what happened, and I don't know exactly where, but it became like I'm not gonna feel or even acknowledge any negative emotion. I'm not gonna feel anything, even positive emotions. I could get the grade that I want, I don't know, like an A star. I could get 90% in an exam. They hand me the paper. Oh yeah, okay, 90%. Okay, cool, but the next one. Okay, but like, oh, like 90% is solid, but like Mohammed got 91%. And then it's like, no emotion I felt like ever really got through to me. I never really felt any emotions because it was like my mind was never like right here, right now. What does this mean to me? My mind was always like over there. Like, okay, what does 90% mean to the teacher, to Mohammed? Like, I was never really living life for me in a way. When I was researching this video, I came across different ways that people kind of cope with emotional outlets. So some healthy ones are therapy, supportive friends, talking to friends and family, and also things like movement. So meditation and tapping, I've done meditation for years, I absolutely love it. And tapping is a new one that I've discovered, so basically tapping is a bit like meditation, but you're literally tapping yourself as you do it. It's the weirdest thing. You look like a weirdo when you're doing it, but it's actually really therapeutic, I'm not gonna lie. Other healthy ways to kind of have an outlet are journaling and also creative expression, things like doing painting, writing, kind of like letting your creative juices flow. However, some unhealthy ways that people cope are things like substance abuse, self-harm, avoidance of people and situations. This one I do a lot, and this one I didn't see as a negative. I thought that was like, oh, like it's healthy that I'm gonna avoid any situation where this girl's gonna come because I don't want to deal with her and her energy. And maybe it is. Like you could argue avoidance of certain situations is just like boundaries and being like firm with I'm not going to tolerate this. But then also, is it like you're not giving yourself the chance to actually like build up some confidence in that area, step out your comfort zone? Like, I don't know. Other unhealthy things are things like emotional eating, workaholism, and people pleasing. That list of healthy versus unhealthy, back in the day, I had absolutely nothing on the healthy list. Like, I was not journaling. I was not going to therapy. All my stuff to cope with how I felt was on the unhealthy list. It was mainly the avoidance, the people pleasing, the workaholism. Maybe you have other ones. Maybe you're actually on a little bit of both sides of the list. You can't escape negative emotions in life. You literally have to choose which coping strategy you're going to use. Because if you think about it, this video in particular is about like working too much and being productive when actually you're numbing yourself emotionally. The feeling of getting better and the feeling of like being more productive or like making more money, getting better grades, being better than someone else and getting a better test score. What better distraction is there to how lonely you feel knowing that like, oh, I'm smarter than her though. Like I got better grades than her. I made more money than this guy. It's so toxic, but I did it for so long and maybe you did it for so long. There's a weird part of our mind that low-key gets a kick out of feeling like we're better than someone else. But now that I've actually like thought about this more, spoken about it in therapy, I've realized like all of this productivity and working too much and obsessing with grades, obsessing with money is like you're just detaching from your emotions in an effort to protect yourself. For me, it started in high school when I was the only black girl and I was super lonely and I felt isolated and felt like no one liked me. I felt like a bit of like, I don't know what you call it, like a bit of like a clown act, or I don't know, like a bit of like a spectacle. Like I felt like people would look at me and think I was funny. So to know that like, okay, maybe I'm not the prettiest girl, maybe I'm not, but like I'm the smartest girl though, like it was such a confidence boost. And so I have a theory, if you are someone that's resonating with this video, I'm convinced one of your biggest motivators is probably the idea of becoming one of the most successful, smartest, richest, or just the best. Like that is something that motivates you a lot, but in the process of trying to get there, you're working excessively. It might have led to you literally neglecting yourself and not even giving yourself your basic needs, which leads me on to my next point. You often say no to yourself, but yes to other people. So at this point in the video, we understand that some of our biggest, most amazing goals come from our deepest and worst insecurities. The things that are driving us to become something so amazing are some of the things that held us back so much early on in life. Sometimes when you work too much, it might actually kind of slip into people pleasing, and you might feel like the need to say yes automatically to other people asking you for things. Like if someone asks you to like, oh yeah, can you stay behind an extra hour at work and like prep this presentation for tomorrow? Or like the group project that you're making with friends for your next class, like people are slacking and they're not pulling their weight, so you give yourself the task of staying up till midnight to finish it off. You'll happily do whatever it takes for someone else if it means you're going to progress further toward your big amazing goal, but like in the process you're saying no to yourself. Like I can't even think about the amount of times someone's asked me to do something, like a favor, a task, like can you help me with this, and I've automatically said yes, and I've instantly been like, Christina, why did you do that? Like literally, why did you do that? Like you do not have the energy, you're sleep deprived, you want to go to bed. The thought of it makes me want to cry, but I've said yes, and now I don't know how to say no. Why did I do that? Thumbs up this video if that's ever been you as well. And my theory on this part is like, okay, you say no to yourself, but you say yes to other people. I think because your confidence is so external. Your confidence is entirely based on your academic performance or the amount of money you make, how amazing you are in your job. Your confidence is so external to you that like the approval of others is another external thing that you kind of want to add to that. Like the way people see you and the way people look at, oh, Christina, like she's so hardworking, she's so this, she's so that, like, and she always goes above and beyond. Like she always does work for me. In a weird way, you need the approval of others to help you feel good about yourself as well. Which for me now, as someone who says no quite a lot, like, and I'm such an advocate for saying no. I try and talk about it a lot in my videos because I'm a big believer in saying no boosts your confidence like nothing else. Back then, the difference between me now and me then, I think back then I was living for other people. Like the grades I was striving for and the getting into medical school, that was all fun and good. I was doing it for me. I was doing it for me at the core, but in a way I was doing it for other people. I wanted people to look at me and think, oh, Christina, like she's so smart. Oh my God, she's going to be a doctor. She's going to this university. Like that's insane. That's low-key what I wanted. Like I low-key wanted people to look at me and think like, wow, like she's doing big, amazing things. She has this many followers. Like, do you know what I mean? Weirdly, I was doing it for me and I was staying up late studying for me. I was working on these videos for me, but then also like I wanted approval. Like I wanted people to look at me and think like, wow. A different example, say you're motivated a lot by like money and you want to start a business. You started a business, you're obsessed with like making a certain amount of money. The reason why, maybe it is for you, maybe you are starting a business in something you genuinely care about and you're passionate about it. But then there's also an element of you that's like, you want people to look at you driving that car and think like, wow, Kieran, like he's doing insane. Like, have you seen his car? Like, have you seen his business? He makes this much money. Like, that's insane. Like, you want people to talk about you in that way. You want people to look at you with awe because in the past, you felt the complete opposite of that. You felt like you were like dirt on the bottom of someone else's shoe, or you felt like literally scum of the earth. The way you'll feel like you've resolved it and things are better is when like you get that official like, yeah, I'm the opposite of that now. Working is a shield against opening up. Chances are there was a phase of your life where you felt like it was a lot easier to stay up an extra 2 hours versus spending 2 minutes on the phone opening up to someone. That's where the like, I like being busy, I like being productive, I like having things to do, I like being busy, like being distracted with work, having your mind so occupied with things to do, your to-do list, your schedule, your Google Calendar. It gives you no bandwidth to think about your emotions, how you feel, what's holding you back, what you desperately want to talk about, what's the thing that's like holding you on the brink of tears. Like if someone brings this up, it's the floodgates are open. If there's one thing I've learned from therapy, I'm planning a video on all the things that I've learned from therapy, and one of the key ones, oh my gosh, one of the key ones that I've learned is like that thing that you're too afraid to talk about is the thing that's going to have you in an absolute chokehold. It's just a fact. And for me, like this classic example is like, okay, I was forcing myself to literally have 5 hours sleep for weeks on end. I was eating the same thing every day, eating like beans out of a tin, not eating proper food, not showering for days straight because I was like, oh, but I want to get this grade. Like I want to pass this exam. I need to pass this exam. I need to get to this exam, get to the next year, graduate med school and become a doctor. Like I was motivated by all these things that I'm talking about and I didn't even realize it at the time. I was telling myself I like being busy, I like being productive, I want to pass this exam, but actually It was like, Christina, you don't feel worthy as a person. You don't feel like you have value. You feel like you have to work for your value and get these exam results. It's only now that I realized that after therapy. It's weird to be living a life that's so motivated, and like, you're such a motivated person. You're so driven. I know if you're watching this, you're a driven person. Like, it's so weird to be that sort of person, but not know properly what you're being motivated by. Now that I know that that's the thing that motivates me, like, Christina, you still feel somehow, some way like you're this weird left out girl, the odd one out girl that like no one likes, everyone makes fun of. You still feel like that. So you feel like you have to prove yourself with your achievements, your awards, becoming a doctor, going to like a top university. Like, you feel like you have to prove yourself with all these things. Whereas now, whenever I do think about like, okay, next steps in life, what do I want to do? What do I want to achieve? Try to be motivated from like a good place. Like, Christina, you do have value. You don't need to work for your value. You don't need to prove that you're a smart person with good grades. If you want to feel something smart, attractive, desirable, you don't have to do it in the weirdly obsessive way that you're currently doing it now. You've maybe chosen the most obvious route. Okay, Christina, you don't feel like you're smart? Well, become a doctor. Like, that's an obvious way to do it. Or like, oh, you don't feel pretty? Get a guy's attention, get a guy's validation. You don't have to do it that way. Which brings me on to my next point. The process matters more than the destination. If you're the sort of girl that's binge watching videos on how to watch a 24-hour transformation, how to lose weight in 3 weeks, how to lose weight overnight, the way you're trying to get to this goal is you're trying to like get to the destination. Okay, when I get an A star, then I'm smart. When I become a doctor, then I'm smart. When this guy calls me hot or attractive, then I'm going to be hot and attractive. But actually, you can get that thing via the process, via the journey. There is a quote that says the journey matters more than the destination. The way to switch that and actually have legit proper confidence is to like stop living for the finish line, and instead live for the current process. Your daily routine has to shift in a way where you just enjoy every task that you're doing, everything in your Google Calendar. You do enjoy the things that you do just on a day-to-day. You're not showing up and doing the presentation just so that you can get to the next step. You're showing up and doing the presentation because you're excited to speak to Holly, your friend. You're excited to see your boss. You're passionate about the topic that you're talking about. Or say it's an appearance thing. You're getting ready to go to a birthday party, see a bunch of people, guys, girls. You want to impress people and look good. You're not doing your hair and makeup and nails so that one of the girls will say that you're pretty, or one of the guys at the party will keep giving you like looks, and you're going to read into that as if like, oh, he thinks I'm attractive because he keeps looking at me. Like, you're going to do your hair and makeup and nails because you enjoy doing your hair and makeup and nails. You need to show up for the process and not for the finish line if you do want to feel like you're in more control of your life. Perfectionism plays a huge role in this, because if you're a perfectionist, this is going to be really tough. And I'm a perfectionist, so I know just how tough this is. You don't do things for fun when you're a perfectionist. There is no process. Like, what do you mean do things for the process and not the destination, Christina? Like, that's ridiculous. I'm doing it so that I can be good at it, so that it's perfect. But I know exactly what that's like, because that is literally me. But one thing that actually like rewired my brain and like completely changed how I see this is just like, you have to remember that every single one of us lives life for emotions. You might think that you're living life so that the guy thinks you're really attractive. Or I might think, oh, I'm living life so that I can become a doctor and be really smart. Actually, I'm living life so that I can feel proud of myself, so that I can feel like, wow, I really did something like really big and huge. Or maybe the girl is looking for the validation because she wants to feel like flattered. She wants to feel validated. She wants to feel like, I don't know, like cozy inside, like, you know, reassured. Those are all emotions. Even when you think about like your like week to week, month to month schedule, the reason why people grind so hard at work is so that they can go on a vacation that they're so excited for. Again, like, they're living for the excitement of the vacation. In a very weird way, we live for emotions, and we live for like the more airy fairy artsy side of life, even though we don't see it that way. You might be a very like black and white, forward thinking, analytical minded person, but you do all of this is so that you can feel a certain thing. And the reason why I'm saying that is to shift more towards the process rather than the destination. It's going to feel weird if you're a perfectionist. Like, it just will. It's going to feel weird, but you do have to try and integrate some of those more lighthearted emotions, fun, excitement, feeling good enough, feeling proud of yourself. Integrate that into your day-to-day. And sometimes that's literally as small as like, if you're one of the people that can never tell people no, you feel weird setting boundaries, you will feel proud of yourself when you say no to like your boss asking you to do something and staying overtime. Or you'll feel proud of yourself when you do go to that party without makeup on. Like, it might feel weird at first saying no to your boss, coming with a bare face to a huge party, but like, you'll feel so proud of yourself. And little things like that, when you let go of perfectionism a little bit and you embrace the fact that like I'm a normal human being, I'm gonna mess up sometimes, I'm not gonna be perfect, but like, I don't know, like you feel proud of yourself. Like it's moments like that when the grip of that goal or that vision you have loosens a little bit and you actually start to live life a little bit more for yourself and not for everyone else. Another thing is, you know, when you are one of these people that's driven by kind of success and achievement and stuff, you have to remember this thing that you're striving for should really be just an addition to your life and not the only thing in your life. I have such an identity crisis now that I'm like about to graduate. My graduation's in a couple of weeks. Of being a doctor. And like, if you couldn't tell already, this was a big dream of mine throughout my whole life. So to now, it's like 2 weeks away, this whole thing that it's all I've ever wanted, all I've literally, like, I'm getting like flustered as I'm talking about it. Like the fact that it's now completed and done, it freaks me out a lot. And I have a lot of moments where I'm like looking at myself in the mirror, like, what is my life? What do I do with myself now? Like literally, what am I working for? I don't know I have nothing motivating me now. And that's not to say like I'm lazy, because I'm a workaholic, like I have things to do, but like it's just weird. I feel like these things, becoming a doctor, making a whole bunch of money, like being attractive and pretty, like it should just be an addition to your life. It should not be the only thing in your life. Otherwise you'll end up like me and you just freak out every hour. Like I'm not jumping to the next goal. Like some of my friends, then they want to be surgeons now and they've got a new North Star to work towards. Or some of my friends, it's like they want to set up a business with medicine and kind of do things like that. I'm not rushing to think of something else to do, because I've lived that life of chasing the goal and I've done it. And I don't think I was the happiest person doing that. I actually think I'm a much happier person now that I'm reflecting on it and like talking about it, thinking it through, writing about it in my Notion. I'm a much happier person as I am now, with no North Star that I'm working towards. I'm just kind of like vibing. But it's weird because I'm someone that's so used to like certainty. Yes, no, black, white, this, that. So now I don't have that. I'm just kind of like going with the flow. It's very weird. Another thing when it comes to embracing process over destination, a really big one that's helped me with this is meditation, which bleeds me on to the next point. Stillness is your friend, not your enemy. When it comes to being busy, you are constantly on the go. You're like go, nonstop, up and down, this, like here, there, and everywhere. You never kind of stop to rest. Stop and resting to you is like in bed, on the toilet, eating lunch. I was the sort of person, like I would never sit down and just like do nothing, read a book, watch TV. I had a weird thing where I would refuse to watch TV by myself because I'd see it as a waste of time. Like if I ever was watching TV with someone, it would like have to be with a friend or with family, because okay, at least I'm with someone, it's productive time, I'm like bonding, friendships, you know, I'm seeing a friend. Like I would never do it by myself because I could be doing emails, could be like planning something. But what meditation has helped me to learn is like moments when you're meditating and like you're still, you're just listening to some soothing voice for 10 minutes. You get so many weird like things click in your head. I can't describe it, but ideas and problems that you have, you just get a solution like that when you're meditating. Or like I get so many ideas for videos when I'm meditating. Like a lot, like half of my channel exists because I've been meditating. Like you wouldn't think it, but slowing down and doing nothing can actually help you produce quite a lot. If you are someone that still really values optimizing your time and getting a lot done, honestly, don't sleep on meditation. Like stillness is your friend. Meditation, I know, can be a bit awkward and weird for a lot of people, but I'll link on the screen some of my favorite ones. I'll link them down below. If not meditation, also yoga is a really good one. And for the skeptics of meditation and yoga, honestly, sometimes when you're more skeptical about something and you're very anti that thing, or like that's never gonna work, I'm never gonna do that. Honestly, sometimes you're some of the people that's gonna benefit the most. So like please just don't sleep on it, give it a try. And then the last form of stillness, we've touched on meditation and yoga. Tapping, the weird one, which is weirdly good. Like tapping is a weird one because I feel like when I do tapping, right, when you do these tapping things and you like tap on yourself and you say the positive words, I feel like I've just like opened a tap and I've like released a lot of emotions. Like I feel like I weirdly have like a release. It's weird. Some of these things are hard to describe. Honestly, in the process of becoming this really driven, motivated, productive person, I feel like I've lost my personality in so many ways. Like there's so many parts of me that I feel like I've lost like my fun and my lightheartedness and like my excitement and like, again, like emotions, like positive things, winning something would not affect me. And like, I'd be like, and then like losing something again, like I felt like I was so emotionally numb. Like grinding hard and studying hard in school and working made me lose a lot of my personality, but that is something that I talk a lot about more in this video, which I'm going to link here. This is the end of the video, but the start of the discussion. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm very intrigued if this resonated with you, so let me know.